我们有请第一位嘉宾。那我们的第一位嘉宾呢，就是 Mr. Bruno Maag， 他是出生于瑞士的一位字体设计师，曾经在施滕佩尔和蒙纳字体公司任过职，而且他现在呢是在1991年时候，英国创立了我们的 Dalton Maag 字体公司。那么今天我非常荣幸的邀请他来为大家先进行他的一个简报，名字呢叫做个性字体。那为他进行翻译呢是我们 TIV 的另一位编辑米拉，有请两位。
Thank you. So this is my time. I am not going to spend any time introducing myself or Dalton Maag. Go to the website because we have 4 more interesting things to talk about.
刚才因为 Eric 已经介绍过了，所以在这边他就不多赘述介绍自己这个Dalton Maag公司了。大家可以有兴趣的话，可以到网站上去，因为我们今天有更多有意思的话题要探讨。
Right. So, as human beings, we all react the same to basic shapes.
那作为人类呢，我们其实对一些最基本的图形都会有一种相似的情绪反应。
We perceive round shapes as soft, warm and friendly, and spiky and sharp shapes as hard, as cold, as repulsive.
当我们看到圆形的时候，我们会感觉非常的柔软，非常的温暖，非常的友好。那当我们看到尖锐的图形的时候，会觉得它非常的冰冷、坚硬，甚至会有一种反感的情绪。
This is an emotional response that has helped us in evolutionary terms to survive, to make sure we don't get killed by all the things that want to eat us.
从进化论的角度来讲，其实这是当初保护人类不在这个凶险的世界里面被杀害。
Can you please change? The same can be applied to typography.
同样，字体也是一样。
There's a reason why everybody likes Comic Sans, the typeface in the middle.
中间的 Comic Sans 字体，大家滥用它或者说喜欢它是有原因的。
Its shape is soft, it's warm, it's friendly, it's inviting.
看上去圆滚滚的非常的柔软，非常的温暖，所以大家都喜欢使用它。
If you compare that to the shape of the black letter type, you find it is cold, it is authoritarian, it's aggressive.
如果把它跟右边的这个black letter 我们说哥特型的字体去对比的话，你会觉得哥特字体看起来有棱有角，非常的冰冷，非常的权威，让人感觉不敢接近。
And if you compare that to Arial on the left and Verdana on the right, you can even apply it there because you find that in Arial the shapes are a bit harder, they're not as soft, they're not as round as they are in Verdana.
最左边的是 Arial， 最右边的是 Verdana 字体。那这两个字体当中也可以对比出不同。那 Arial 的字形从跟 Verdana 对比的话，感觉更收紧，所以说它的这个字形不是像 Verdana 这么开放，所以感觉上也比 Verdana 更加的硬一点。
So we react more positively to Verdana because it has these softer shapes, these more open shapes.
所以从情绪上来讲，我们对于 Verdana 字体的反应是比较的柔和的，因为它的字形更加的开阔。
Now, in the West, branding agencies often use brand archetypes to define the personality and the emotions of a brand.
在西方很多的这个品牌机构呢，往往会用品牌原型这样的一个工具，来帮助品牌去定位它的一个品牌的一个特性。
By giving a brand a personality, you can define the emotions and you can help the client understand what they want to perceive or what they want to convey.
那么通过给到品牌这样的一个个性的定义呢，我们能够帮助客户更加的明确他想要他的品牌传递什么样的信息。
It is also important to understand that emotions are the first touch point with the brand. And once you have established that emotion, you go more into the pragmatic things like price, like functionality, etc. But emotions is the first connection point.
情感联络其实是我们跟品牌接触的时候的第一站。那在情感联络之后，我们才会去考虑说价钱啊、性价比啊这些理性的因素。但情感其实是第一步。
The same can be applied to typography as well. We just spoke earlier about emotions and type, but we can also apply brand archetypes to typography. But it is important to understand that sometimes a typeface can occupy more than one class of a brand archetype.
刚才我们讲到，人对于字体也是会有情感的反应的。那在这里呢，我们也可以把品牌原型这样的概念也运用到字体上面去。当然，我们也要注意一点，就是可能同一种字体，它会占据好几个品牌个性的类型。
This typeface we designed for the luxury group Faina. They have hotels in Buenos Aires and in Miami.
那这个字体呢，是为西班牙的一个酒店品牌 Faina 设计制作的。那他们在布宜诺斯艾利斯啊，然后迈阿密的海滩上都有他们的这个酒店。
As a brand archetype, it can be classified as a jester. Jesters is about luxury. It's about enjoyment of life.
那它这个品牌给到自己个性一个定义是那种玩世不恭的花花公子之类的类型，所以呢，它有一点奢华的感觉，但同时它又很轻松。
When you look at the keywords, luxury, elegance, design, it also says authority. It has a high contrast, and you see this type of style is often used in fashion. It is used in luxury. It's elegant because of its vertical stress and the high contrast.
大家可以看到，它上面有3个品牌的关键词，叫做这个奢华、优雅和设计。那同样，这个字形呢，由于它的一个比较竖直的一个字形的一个造型，同时呢，它的笔画的粗细对比是非常强烈的，经常呢会被用在一些时尚的一些场合，所以是能够体现出这个品牌的特性。
This type style is basically associated with emotionally, I have enough money, I don't need to care about the basic things in life.
所以给人的一种情绪上的感觉就是我有足够的这个经济基础，所以我不需要去担心我的基本的生活，这样的一个态度。
Now, in contrast, this typeface we designed for Intel, the computer company, and this is a sage archetype, and they want knowledge and they want to distribute that knowledge.
那对比之下呢，这款字体是为英特尔公司设计的。他们的品牌的定义就是定义自己像是一个智者、贤者的一种感觉，我是获取知识并且去传播知识的。
When you look at the shapes, emotionally, you find they're actually quite round, and many of the characters are very open as well.
观察这个字形呢，我们会发觉它的弧线非常多，非常的圆，然后呢，它整个字形也比较的开放，所以给人一种比较温暖的感觉。
But at the same time, the characters are very evenly proportioned, and the contrast is very low, which means it gives it an somehow engineered and mechanical feel, a dependable feel.
那同时呢，它的字形的比例还是比较的均匀，并且它的粗细对比也是基本上是没有粗细对比的，是同样的粗细的，所以给人一种经过工程加工定制的非常可靠的这样一种感觉。
Now, this is the typeface we designed for Lush, the cosmetics brand, and Lush is an innocent brand. It's about positive and kind. It's about good things in life.
那这个字体是为 Lush 这个日化品牌化妆品品牌设计的。那他们的品牌定位呢，就是天真无邪的这样一种概念，所以他们可以看到世界上所有的事情都可以看到美好的一面。
And I would like to talk to you a little bit more about Lush, how we developed this typeface and how we found the correct brand expression.
那我们这里来多讲一讲这个 Lush 这个品牌，我们如何为它打造这个品牌的字体形象。
Lush has about 500 shops across 80 countries in the world.
那在世界80多个国家范围内呢 ，Lush 有500多家门店。
Its main corporate identity expression is the typography. If you have ever been in a Lush shop, you will instantly recognize the lettering.
他们一 个非常具有辨识度的品牌特征就是他们是用手写的方式在店面里面去做这些装饰的，所以你一进它的店面你就认得出来。
It's got a very energetic handwritten quality that instantly creates a warm and inviting connection.
虽然它的笔触非常的坚硬，但是呢也非常的动感，所以一下子就能够和你建立起这种情感上的联系。
Now the problem is this handwritten quality, or the problem is you cannot handwrite in a digital environment, so we had to create a font.
但是你在互联网上没有办法让每个人都手写，所以呢我们就要为它打造一个数字化的字体。
We did a 2-week workshop with a 2-day workshop with the creative team at Lush and explored different ways of handwriting.
我们和 Lush 的创意团队呢开了2天的工作坊和他们探讨有哪一些这个手写的一些风格。
And a number of these handwritings with different tools we also did digitize in order to test which one would capture the expression the best.
而且不同的这个书写方法，它也用了不同的工具。那我们把这些不同的字形都进行了数字化的测试，来看一下它的运用的一个表现。
After these tests, we defined or we found a handwriting style which we then explored further into a display type and into a text type.
那最后呢，我们是选择了这一种风格的字体，并且把它拓展成了一套标题字体，就是上面以及下面的正文字体。
You can see the display type has that energy of the original handwritten form. So it's got a strong verticality with thin horizontals because it comes from a broad pen.
可以看到标题字体其实保留了原来的它的书写体的非常有力的这种风格，它的横竖笔画的粗细对比是非常明显的。
You will also find that the letter spacing is very tight. So again, that creates that immediacy, that energy of the quickly written form.
同时，它的字间距也是比较紧的，所以给你传达出一种紧迫感，然后一种非常及时的一种活力。
In contrast to that, you have the more even text version. The text version is written with a monolinear pen, and the letter spacing is more open to allow for good legibility at smaller sizes.
那正文字体对比之下呢，就更加的柔软，同时它采用的这个笔呢是这个单线笔的这个记号笔的书写方式，所以呢在正文当中呢，它的字形也更加的开放，所以也更加具有好的这个辨识度。
Once we designed or digitized the basic characters, we also created a set of alternative characters for every single design in the font.
那为了这个数字字体呢，我们给每一个里面的字母定制了另外一套替换字形。
And we did some research which are the most used characters across European languages to then create an additional layer of alternative designs.
同时，我们也做了调查，在欧洲国家当中，这个语言当中最常用的是哪些字母？我们又为它定制了第2个替换字形，就是大家看到这个第3行。
And on top of that, we did research across European languages which are the most used character pair combinations to create ligature designs.
同时，我们也调查这个欧洲语言当中哪些是最常用的字母组合，我们也为这些字母组合定制了连字。
All that would then be programmed into an OpenType font. In the OpenType font, the program continuously looks back over a string of 12 characters to determine which version or which character pair combination to place in InDesign or on the web page.
那在我们把这个字体编程进这个 OpenType 字体格式的时候呢，程序会先往前面看12个字符，然后来决定我这个字符是应该用哪一个替换字形，或者是用哪一个连字。那这样我在 InDesign 或者是其他软件当中就可以自动的进行替换。
On top of that, our programmer also created a function in OpenType to look back over 5 line breaks to make sure that there would never be the same design at the beginning of a line.
同样，它也会看这个前面的5行， 在5行当中也会出现重复的设计。
And with this method, we can simulate the energy of the original handwritten typeface.
那这样呢，我们就能够还原这种手写的原汁原味，这种随机性和这种活力。
If you go to the Lush website, lush.com, lush.co.uk, you can see the font in action. It is actually live and all the OpenType features work very well. This you could also apply to complex writing systems. Lush works in China, Lush has in shops in the Arabic-speaking world. Okay. We could have created, obviously, a font from the Chinese, but this being a handwritten font would have been so much effort, we would have at least to create 3,000 characters. It would have been too time-consuming, too expensive, which is the reason why handwriters are still employed to create type for Lush in the shops.
那么大家可以在 Lush 的这个官网上面看到，它的这些 OpenType 字形的特性都是已经能够正常显示，表现得非常好。那同时呢 ，Lush 在一些其他国家，包括中国啊，或者是阿拉伯国家，也是有门店的。但是呢，比如说在中国，如果要创造一套手写的字形的话，那你至少要先写3000个字，所以是比较花时间，也是比较花这个资金的。所以目前呢，还是在采用店面手写的方式。
Now, I would like to talk to you about a project we did for AT&T, which had a rebrand earlier this year.
那接下来我们来看一个美国这个 AT&T 电信公司的这个例子，他们在今年进行了一次品牌的更新。
AT&T is the most dominant telecoms operator in the United States and has been around since about 1960.
AT&T 基本上是在60年代开始建立的，那么现在已经是美国最大的这个电信的服务商。
In order to stay competitive in the increasingly tough market, they started to expand and they recently purchased DirecTV, so an entertainment channel.
那这个市场竞争也是越来越激烈，所以 AT&T 也是把自己的业务拓展到了娱乐的领域，所以他们收购了 DirecTV， 是一家这个电视服务商。
Now, from a brand proposition, these two things are very, very different. Telecommunications is mainly business to business. Entertainment is business to consumer. So two different approaches.
但其实从品牌策略的角度来讲，这个品牌改换是非常重大的一个改变，因为本来 AT&T 的业务基本上都是对公的，那到了 DirecTV 这边基本上是对私的这个娱乐业务，所以说它的品牌在沟通上面也需要有所改变。
Now, when we start working with the client to define what the typographic expression is, before we even start designing, we have workshops with the client to find out what they are thinking in terms of typography.
那在我们开始任何的设计之前，我们先和客户进行了一次工作坊的讨论，来明确他们到底心里对这个字体方面有怎么样的想法，他们想要什么。
In order for everyone to start using the same emotional language, we do an exercise called perceptual mapping.
那我们采用了这个叫做知觉图这样的一个工具，这样的坐标工具，来帮助他们去定义他们未来想要采用哪一种情绪语言去沟通。
On this perceptual map, you have two axes, and usually you have opposing attributes on each axis.
在这个知觉图上面呢，有两条轴，那这两条轴的两端都是代表了极端的这个情绪反应。
We then then in the workshop have the participants place the type cards that you saw in the previous slide in an area of the map.
所以我们在这个工作坊当中，就让他们把不同的风格的字体卡片贴在他们觉得合适的坐标上面。他们是觉得这个是专业的还是随意的就是不同的坐标来定义。
That helps the client to understand how they're actually perceiving a typeface and where in that emotional space they want to place shapes and forms.
那这个其实就有助于我们了解说客户是怎么样去看待这些字体的情感的一些联系的。那同样，他们想要他们的品牌处于哪一个坐标上面？
And because it is a collaborative exercise, everyone starts using the same keywords.
因为这是一个合作型的一个工作坊，所以大家就开始使用同样的关键词来定义。
And what we find more often than not is that when the client has gone through these exercises, they are changing their initial opinion about which way a typeface should go.
而且在这些活动当中，我们往往会发觉，客户一开始的想法是怎么样的，他们到了工作坊结束的时候，往往会有所改变。
In the case of AT&T, the client had this preconceived idea that he should be using a geometric sans serif for everything. But after the exercise, they realized they had to develop two typestyles, a sans serif for business to business and a slab serif for the entertainment, for the business to customer.
一开始呢 ，AT&T 觉得要用一个几何形态的无衬线体来代表他们的形象，但是在工作坊之后呢，他们讨论之后觉得我需要在对公的业务上面使用这个无衬线体，但是在对私的这个娱乐业务上面，好像采用这个板衬线体或者我们说方衬线体，更加能够体现他们的业务。
We also managed to get the keywords out of the client as well to help us understand what are the emotional qualities and how should we design.
同时呢，我们也从客户那边反馈收集了一些关键词，就是他们认为应该怎么样定义他们的品牌特性。
With these keywords, we then started designing and developed 12 ideations.
有了这些关键词呢，我们同时又基于工作坊的这个结果呢，我们就发想出了12个初始的方案。
The ideations are quite different in places, but they help us capture the expression of the type style. You will also notice it's only very few characters. These are enough characters to find what the brand expression should be like.
那么这12个初始方案其实风格不尽相同，这其实也是帮助我们进一步的去确认他们究竟想要用哪一种品牌的形象。那同时大家可以看到，这些方案当中字母都不是很多，但是也足以帮我们去明确整个字体的一个风格。
We then present it back to the client, and for each of the ideation, we give the client our interpretation of 3 of those key words to basically tell them this is how we're thinking about this expression.
那同时我们也给到了客户3个关键词，这个可靠、可亲，然后可信啊，就是让他们知道我们对于这个我们发想出来的这个字形是怎么样看待的。
And from the 12th ideation, we encourage the client to select 2 routes to develop into a design concept. We also want the client to sometimes use opposing designs so that they can really make an informed decision which one represents their brand best.
那同时，我们也让客户从这12个初始方案当中挑选2个他们觉得最有希望发展成为设计概念的这个2个方案，而且我们鼓励他选择的是2个风格比较迥异的方案，那这样也更加有利于我们去决定到底是哪一种风格适合他。
In the design concepts, we expand the character set to really define all the features, but we also define a range of the weights. This is important because sometimes the extreme weights in a typeface can take on a life of their own.
除了完善这个字母表之外呢，我们也给字体发展出了不同的字重，也就是粗细程度。因为在最粗和最细这2个极值上面，这个字形往往会拥有一种自己的性格，它会自成一格，会风格非常突出。
Next slide, please. These design concepts we give the client in font form, so they can start applying it into all their other brand assets and make an informed decision which is the correct design concept to go with that correctly captures the brand expression.
那么设计概念这样的一个方案呢，我们是以字体文件的形式给到客户的，他们可以运用在这些宣传品啊、这些文件当中，他们可以自行使用，然后去测试到底哪一种文字是比较合适的。
And after having seen it in application, the client was convinced they made the right decision with going for a sans serif and a slab serif for the entertainment market.
经过这样的一轮运用的话呢，客户也更加的确认了他之前的决定，也就是要用2种字体，要用无衬线体去代表对公的业务，要用满衬线体去代表对私的业务。
Once they have made the decision, here we can just see the design concept, if you want to go to the next slide. And once they make the decision, there is a round of concept refinements. So the first time we do it, it's not necessarily absolutely right. The client may want to make some changes. For example, here in the slab serif, you can see the lowercase c changes to give maybe a bit of a harder feel, a little bit more of a sports feel.
那么同样对这个设计概念呢，也进行了几轮的迭代。那客户也提出说，比如说这个小写字母 C 本来是没有这个衬线部分的，那也是加上了这个衬线，能够更加强化它的字体的这个特征。
Excellent. And let's go back to the brand expression, to the brand archetypes, because we want to quickly classify where that sits.
那我们又再回到刚才的这个品牌原型的图当中，因为我们想要最后的来评判一下，我们打造的这个品牌到底属于哪一个类型。
And here we can see it is a magician brand. It wants to understand all the aspects around the world, and it wants to focus the energy for the best outcomes.
那么在这边呢，我们最终的评判的这个结果是，它是属于魔法师类型的这个品牌。它能够通晓世界周围发生的事情，并且呢，把所有的资源都投入，产生最好的结果。
And the keywords are compelling, enterprising, dependable. Exactly those that we have identified in the workshop.
最后他们所总结出来的关键词呢是引人入胜，然后有进取心，并且值得信任的这样的一个概念。那这个其实跟他们的工作坊当中讨论的结果也是相符的。
And this is now the full font family. It has grown quite considerably. We have added more weights to really capture AT&T's business completely.
这个是最终我们发展出来的一套庞大的字体家族，有不同的字重和这个宽窄度。那我们相信这个可以能够代表 AT&T 在这个全美的一个业务。
The font name Alec comes from the nickname of Graham Alexander Bell, who actually invented the telephone.
这个名字 Alec 呢，其实是亚历山大贝尔的昵称，他因为贝尔发明了电话。
And so we're coming to the end, but I just want to say one thing here. You do not always need to have a custom font designed when you want to capture the brand expression.
最后呢，我们还想说一句，其实如果是作为一个品牌的话，你不一定每一次都是有人帮你设计一个定制一个字体。
But if you choose a typeface off the shelf from any font library, it is still important that you're going through these exercises to understand what are the brand values, what are the key expressions the brand wants to achieve.
但是当你要去从这个字库当中去选择一种字体的话呢，其实还是需要经过刚才我们所说的一个品牌评估的一个过程，你才能知道说我的品牌特性到底在哪里，我想要用怎样的一种语言去表达。
And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for listening.
谢谢大家。